Hello everybody, welcome to Ask Polymath Getty. I am your host, and probably your favorite polymath. Why? Because you probably don't know of any other polymaths. We're living in an age of specialization, where you're told through conventional wisdom to go to school, learn a very narrow subject, get a degree, get a job, and live happily ever after. But that's not the way to the path of enlightenment and understanding and learning a multitude of things. I think as human beings, we have the potential to learn a lot about a lot, not just enough about something. So that's why I opted to become a polymath, and it's a journey that I plan on taking for the rest of my life, and I'm encouraging everyone else to as well expand on their horizons and try to find interest in many other things. That said, we have a question from Zach in Michigan. It's very, very long. I'm going to try to consolidate it here. He says, what is free will and how does one exercise it to the fullest extent when so many others are trying to take away your free will? Is evil, darkness, negativity what takes free will? And if so, where did this darkness and evil and negativity come from? Or who or what created it? And then he goes on to say, I believe human beings have free will, and he describes it as the ability to make a choice, and so on. So here's how I'm going to break down your question, Zach. You want to know what free will is, first of all. Free will is the ability and the right to make a decision according to your own conscience that best suits your interests or those that you care about. That seems to be a pretty concise definition, and it precludes anyone else's right over your decision, and it allows you complete autonomy to make whatever decision it is your consciousness and your will choose to make. That said, the problem we have with free will is that when everyone's allowed to do whatever they want all the time, you're going to have a lot of confrontations. You're going to have a lot of people conflicting with one another. You're going to have certain people taking the rights from other people, and you can't have that. The only way to have free will exist in society in a productive way is to set rules and parameters and guidelines by which all humanity shall observe and live by. So, that said, it's very important to understand that free will comes with responsibility. And with that responsibility, you have to practice certain measures that are going to enable yourself to not only behave in a way that is satisfactory to yourself and to those that you care about, perhaps, but it's also very responsible to the society that you live in, and making sure that you do not overstep bounds of other people who also want to exercise the same right. And this all comes back down to being a libertarian. And I don't mean that as a political party association, I mean that as a philosophical association. It's really important to understand the live and let live philosophy, which is the foundation of libertarianism. And what it means is, you should be able to make decisions out of your own free will according to what is best for your interests, without overstepping the bounds of other people. And the way that works is you can't hurt someone, you can't steal from them, you can't infringe upon their rights, you can't stifle their freedom to do the same. And basically it just comes down to respecting one another's rights and decisions. As long as they don't affect you in a negative way, or as long as they don't affect negatively a bystander that cannot speak or defend themselves. So, that said, the problem with free will is that when everyone has the ability and the right to make their own decisions, one person's decision might overstep the bounds of someone else's decision. For example, person A might say, out of my free will, I think I should steal someone's car. Another guy would say, I think I should be allowed to go in someone's house if I wanted to. Someone else should say, I think I should be able to hurt and kill anyone I want to. But now you're infringing on someone else's right to live, and someone else's right to make free decisions as well. So you have to understand the measures that we must put in place to allow free will to become an omnipresent reality for this world. You have to be able to hold yourself responsible to how you behave with your free will. With decisions and power come responsibility. And so you have to be able to make decisions, but you also have to be able to monitor yourself. And if you don't, we also need a society that has a structure and a framework in such a way that we hold accountable those who do not hold themselves accountable. So if you do not prevent yourself from hurting someone or stealing from someone or infringing on someone's rights or something along those lines, society at large, most likely through their elected government, should find a way to force you to not overstep your boundaries. They should force you to not be allowed to hurt someone. It should force you to basically pay the price if you do cross these bounds. And there's nothing wrong with that, really. Without law, there can be no freedom. So you have to understand there's a reason for this negativity and there's a reason for this darkness and so forth you're talking about. People have free will, and that means they can either make the right choice or the wrong choice. It's up to them. And if one person who's exercising their free will is doing the right thing, and someone next to them is not, and they involve that person, now the second person is involving the first person in their own negative behavior. And now the first person wonders, why am I involved in this? What is causing the negativity? Well, it's the right to choose. And unfortunately, we are not all graceful, loving saints that are benevolent toward one another and magnanimous. Okay, there are many people who have evil in their hearts, and they are devoid of all things that are good. And maybe they worship Satan, maybe they just do so indirectly or unconsciously, I don't know. But there's very little God in them. There's very little ethic in them. There's very little sense of humanity in them and love in them. And so they're going to do negative things. And that's where we have to draw the line. We can't allow people who have negative or ill intent to get away with harming or stealing or hurting or infringing upon another's right to do the same. So you should be able to do anything you want as long as it doesn't hurt anybody. I should be able to do anything I want so long as it doesn't hurt anybody. The moment what you do or what I do oversteps the boundaries of someone else's rights, that's where we cut off the rights. So I can do anything as long as it doesn't hurt you. So that's why I don't believe in locking people up for drug offenses or anything petty like that. They're not hurting anyone except themselves. So really they need help, not punishment. But that's another story. But the fact is, if you embrace the libertarian view of free will, you basically embrace the right to choose linked with self-responsibility. So as long as you're responsible for the decisions you make, and you know what bounds not to cross, you can't hurt or harm or steal or infringe upon someone else's rights, then free will should work. Then if you make the wrong decision, it should only affect you. But unfortunately, people like to involve others with their wrong decisions, and then that in turn hurts other people, harms them, and takes away their opportunities or infringes upon their rights or in some way damages their life. And for this, they ought to face the law, face justice. So I hope I answered your question. If you have any other questions, the email is askpolymathgetty@gmail.com. Send your name, your city or state or country, and maybe a short paragraph with your questions. You know, just a question with a little bit of background information so I can answer it. And that'll be it. So thank you everyone for watching once again. Please like this video so you support the person making it, which is me. Otherwise, I'm in the wilderness talking to the wind here. So people are sending me questions. I'd like for you to show appreciation by sharing the video, liking, commenting, and so forth, and bringing my channel a little bit up in the ranks of the YouTube community. Thank you, everyone, and good night.